Hey guys, just another way we're doing as I'm looking at all of the pots and stuff and just some of your things. Now it's time for you guys to start to branch out into different programs. So I talked to a few of you. I know some of you have Mudbox. All of you get a free copy of Mudbox, so that shouldn't be an issue. Just like you get with Maya. And some of you seem to have Substance and others don't. That's also free to you guys with a education license. But I just want to show you something if I take this and put this into Mudbox, okay? So if I have this, I've UV mapped mine, and here's an important part. I'm just using this because this is one of the objects that you guys have. I've UV mapped it and there is no overlapping, and most importantly, it's all in the 0 to 1 space. I don't have them out here, out there, or it's in this area. And that's really important for what I'm about to do, because if it's out here, we can get into it later that you can have separate UV sets, but out here are tiling, whatever's here, tiles. So you can't get an accurate, like a paint here, it's going to be here as well. And sometimes you want to get some real good details like in certain areas. Okay, so I've UV mapped this. I now export it out, which I already did, but I'll just show you. You select it in object mode, and I export it out as an FBX. And see, I already have it in here. So once I have that exported out, I'd go in to Mudbox, oops, and I'd say I want to open that FBX. It may give me this. Mudbox likes clean meshes with non-manifold shapes or non, whatchamacallit, n-gons. So, or no n-gons. I'm just going to ignore this, and what I'm going to do is just say keep all. And let's zoom back. It uses the same tools if you haven't used it as Maya. Alt, right mouse button, Alt middle mouse button, Alt left mouse button. So all the same tools. Okay. So I'm going to choose, first I'm going to choose my paint layer, and I'm going to create a new diffuse, and I'm just going to call this one diffuse layer. I'm going to call this one color. And it's only a pot, so I don't need a 2K texture. I could keep it a 512. What I like to do is go high res and then bring it down, but I don't need it that big. So something for this one might be 512, or I could make it 1024, and I can always scale it down. But if I make it too small, I can't scale it up. So I'm just going to go 1024 just for the sake of this. And now I'm going to hit, and it's a diffuse map, and it's making it as a TIFF. That's fine for right now, and I hit OK. So I choose my paintbrush, and you see there's my brush there, and it also has mirroring on, so I can turn that off, or I could turn it on like on the X, which means anything that I paint on one side will show up on the other side based off of the X-axis. This is really good for when I'm doing symmetry for characters and things like that, so I don't have to paint both sides, things like that. So if I have this, let me just turn it off for right now. And here's another cool thing. Whenever I put my cursor over stuff, it tells me what it is, and it might even show me different things that it's controlling. So if I ever forget and I'm like, what is that? Just put your cursor over it. Turn off stamp and turn off stamp spacing. And I choose a color that I want my pot to be. I don't like too dark or too light. I like a mid-tone, and then I can add highlights and darker tones where I like it. Maybe a little less saturated, somewhere around there. And then I could just paint it in. Now, the letter B, as in brush, hold that down, and left mouse button, and as I move the cursor left to right, changes the size of my brush, just like in Maya. The letter M, left mouse button moving forward and back on the mouse changes the amount of strength of that brush. So the longer that line, the more pressure, the more paint you can put onto it. Now just doing the whole thing might be a pain in the butt, so I'm just going to go in my properties. If this isn't showing, just click on the brush and it'll show them. Scroll down and just say flood that layer, and that gives me a nice flooded color. Now here's the cool part. I'm going to show you just a couple of things really quick. Now I can go in and I can actually scroll up and use a stamp. So if the way a stamp works is I can choose like this stamp right here, and I can randomize, turn on randomize, and I'm going to choose a darker, I could choose a darker color like so, and then watch this. See that? So depending on what my choices are, like which one of these I use, I can tone down how much pressure, and I could start to add some details to this pot. See? And it all depends. There's a whole bunch. I can also use my own images that I might want. The bigger the brush, the bigger the pattern. Just Control Z out of that. The smaller the brush, the smaller the pattern. So what I want to have is something, let's tone down the pressure and just kind of add, let's maybe make it a little bit heavier. And just add a little bit of variance. Now, what's happening is it's coming on very heavy-handed. And if I go to stamp spacing, what that basically means is how it's dropping it. So let me crank that up so you can see. So the spacing, you see how it's spreading it out like that? So if I make it tighter, then it's less spacing between each time it drops that pattern. So I want to give it something like that, and then when I boost it up, tone down the pressure. Let's move it up a little bit. There, now I'm getting this nice little pattern. Maybe tighten that up a little bit like that. All right. Now, of course, I can do different things like I can also make highlights or like a highlighted tan color on that. Hit OK, hit done. And once again, if I crank that up higher, let's make that even lighter just so you can see it. See, I can get a little bit of those speckles in there. I could also add, like if I know that there's supposed to be some sort of moss or something or grass growing along the bottom, and just start to put that, maybe make it a little bit darker. And as I add these and lower the pressure, we can get that sort of this mossy kind of grass or dirt going along the bottom. And this makes it a lot easier for me to actually now go in and add some of those details. See? Now, one thing you'll notice, oops, and let's do something here, is that I'm getting this, and I might get some dirt and different moss. I'm just trying to do this a little fast so you can see. Maybe turn down the stamp spacing. That's better. And I could do what I want, but it's very smooth. So watch this. I go to New, Bump, Map, and we're going to make this an actual bump map right here. So check this out. When I use that and that same pattern, and I'm painting on there, and we'll just make this now a white. Jinkies, hold on. Let's get that right. That's weird. Oh, there it is. So we could see the bump starting to show up, but it's also, um, there's a shininess that's happening on this. So for some reason, it's also adding to the specularity. Why is it doing that? That's weird. Let's add a new, oh, that's why. It's a normal map I accidentally chose. See what happens. So I'll just select this guy and I'm going to delete it. Let's try that one again. Not a normal, a bump map. That was my bad. Bump map. There we go. That's cool. There we are. So check this out. I can now go in and depending on, so white bumps up, black bumps in. Tone that down. Now I can start to add, you know, some bumpiness to it. If I tone it down a lot, I can just start to add a little bit of texture to this. Look at that. So I'm just texturing that in a little with that bump map. And I'm just using that. If I use something like this might even work a little better. I'll turn that up so you can see. See that? There we go. That looks much better now. If there's an area like you could see, oh, you know what that means? That means my UVs are overlapping when you see that. So that means that's why that's happening. So I'll just smooth that out. Shrink this down. And just smooth that area out. And I will crank the bejesus up out of that one. So that just means I need to go back into my UVs. If I go back into Maya, and that means that the UVs right there. These guys, for some reason, are up right over there. How did that happen? So I'm going to take this, and I am going to go into here, and I'm going to unfold along there. There we are. That's better. Now they're more spread out. Now I don't have that issue. That's better. Now an interesting thing, as you see that's happening, I can actually go in, File, Export, overwrite that, and then inside a Mudbox, File, Import UVs, and then just choose the clay plot again. Boop. And look at that, fixed it. Awesome sauce. There's a few things that actually shifted, but now I can at least get rid of that. See that? And just get rid of those. And if I go back in now, it works fine. So it's not the end of the world. You could just re-update it, and now all that stuff is going to work just great. See, I could even have it up here. So if there was supposed to be like some collected dirt or whatever, and I put it up here, then I can actually go on the diffuse, take one of those darker browns and make it even darker like that, and then I could just make it like there's the mud up top kind of going in. And just like for these guys down here, I can actually go in back into the bump and then just start to paint some of that stuff there in there. Okay. It's black, so it's not doing it. That means I have to go up to white or lighter gray. And now I can start to do that. And if it's too much, S, left mouse, is the smooth. Or I could, or the blur. But I can just turn on the blur and turn down the pressure just to soften that out a little bit. Just a little, and then I could bring it back in. But I can do all sorts of stuff now. I can even go in now if I wanted to, and I'm in that bump map, and this time I choose a really dark color. And what this will do is I can now, I'm going to turn off the stamp. And if I crank it up, I can make it that this is going to appear to bump inward. But what I would have to do is just choose a fall off that is like really, really kind of sharp. And what will happen is I can actually just kind of push that in. Let's say I make it white. There we go. Make it white and hold down Control, and then I can bump things inward. And I can make it that this is almost like a chip if I crank it up high enough. This isn't like, oops, tone you down now. This isn't like actually doing the sculpting, but this does allow you to kind of fake that. Okay. And then I can just, oops, really bring that down. Just bring the edge up around it a little bit. Like so. So that's pushed in, and then I could just go in onto the diffuse. And give it a very, very light color in the diffuse, just to kind of brighten that area out if I wanted to, like it's chipped away. And then just darken around it. I can even add other layers, so I could have dirt on one layer, different things on other layers. I could actually go in and paint in, if I use the right stamp, I could put in those cracks and things I saw some of you guys do. So if I go into the bump and I turn off randomize, see that? So just by minimizing that, I could just kind of have, see that, little scratches and scrapes that are on it that might be there. Just by, depending on the brush and what I want to do. I could even choose one of, let me see, these guys. These little gray ones, which mimic edges and stuff. But now you can start to see what we can do with it. Okay, so just for some of your items, oh, one last thing. Some of you would like get a texture. You can bring textures in here and either stencil them, like bring it in, like, oh, I want a texture I want to bring in. Like you see these different textures I could stencil. So you want something really cool? Check this out. We use this. I'm on the bump layer, the brush, projection. We'll use this one. And I'm projecting this. Look at that. So if I tone that down, see that? And I'm stenciling this into it. So now as I move this guy around, I can add these details and they're in the bump map. Okay. We could just add little ones here and there. Hit Q to turn that off, but check that out. So we have these cracks and stuff that are in there. And then I could save these textures out. Go in, and then I can go and I can either right click and save independent ones out, like export this channel, merge, or I could export individual channels, like right click, like I want the bump, save that one out, right click this one, save that out. And you could save or export like to Photoshop files. Okay. And then I'd bring those files into Maya, apply them, put the bump in the bump, the color in the color, and it's all good. But try and mess around with some of these because you can get some good stuff.